You should be on page 82. Okay, this chapter is called Astronauts. So that means this chapter is going to have stories all about astronauts and space. So, in your notebook, your vocabulary notebook, at the top, you need to write the the name of the chapter, which is, oh gosh. Astronauts. And then today's date, which is August 31st, 2020. It's the last day of August. And I'm very sorry, Carla, because I know it's your birthday month, but August is my least favorite month, so I'm very excited for it to be over. Except for Carla's birthday. And my mom's birthday, too. So, Astronauts is the title of this chapter, so it's the title of these vocabulary notes. And then, of course, you have the date, August 31st, 2020. Now, let's look at page 82 and 83 before we move on to doing the vocabulary. So go ahead, look at that picture. While you're looking at the picture, I'm going to read the talk about it. You can be thinking of answers to this question. What do you think is happening in this photograph? If you have an answer, you can raise your hand. Sorry, I want you to take a little bit longer to think of an answer. Carla, I want you to take a little bit longer to think of an answer. Whenever you answer a question, you need to take a little bit to think about the answer. Don't just try to answer it right away. Think about the question, what you're being asked, and then come up with your answer. You guys try to answer too quickly, which means you're not really thinking before you speak. Kingston, what do you think is happening in this photograph? An astronaut is floating in space. Very good. Why do you think he's floating in space? Carla?
I think he's floating in space because he needs to fix something.
Very good. He might need to fix something. Just like cars, make sure you're looking at page 82 and 83 and not messing with your notebook. Just like cars, spaceships also have mechanical issues and need fixed. But unfortunately, when you're in space, is there a repair shop that the astronauts can take that rocket to? No. Nope. So that means what has to happen? If they're in space and there's something wrong with something on the outside of the ship, the spaceship, what has to happen, Zari?
Astronauts have to fix it.
The astronauts have to fix it themselves. And there aren't specific astronauts that are only there to fix the problems. Because, on Earth, if our car has a problem, sometimes our parents know how to fix it, but a lot of times they have to take it to a person whose only job is to fix a car. They don't really know they may not know necessarily how to drive the car. Usually they do, but maybe they don't. But they know how to fix it. Well, an astronaut has to know both how to drive or operate the rocket as well as fix it. So do you think it's easy to be an astronaut? You can just show me. No, not at all. Okay, now you do not have to turn the page, but do get out your vocabulary notebook, because we are going to start with the words. Today we have 7 words. So that means, Kingston, you will be doing words number 1 through 4. So make sure you make a little note of which words you're going to do. You're going to do number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Zadie, you're going to be doing numbers 5, 6, and 7. So make sure when we get to numbers 5, 6, and 7, you make a little note to yourself in your notebook that tells you, hey, these are my words that I have to do. Okay. So number 1, make sure that you are spelling these words correctly, the vocabulary words, the part of speech, and the words in the definition. Kingston, you to write quickly because we cannot wait, okay? Number 1 is the word endless. Endless. Endless is spelled E-N-D-L-E-S-S, and it is an adjective. Now I want to point something out really quick. Endless has a suffix. Remember, suffix are letters that you add to the end of a word to change its meaning. So L-E-S-S is a common suffix. If I cover up L-E-S-S, what word do I have, class?
End.
End. The suffix L-E-S-S means you take the root word, which in this case is end, and less, that suffix, makes it mean it doesn't have whatever this is. So we know end means the end, the back. Something stops. If we have the suffix L-E-S-S, which means it doesn't have this means whatever it is doesn't have an end. So the official definition is something has no limit or end. The word endless is an adjective. It means something has no limit or end. So by looking at that suffix in that root word, did we pretty much already know what this word meant? Because we know end means a limit or an end. L-E-S-S is a suffix that means whatever the root word is does not exist. So that means endless is an adjective that means something has no limit or end. Here it is in context. Weather is an endless event because it never stops or comes to an end. No matter what, we're going to have weather, right? Even if it's sunny, we still have weather, right? Because sunny is a type of weather. So weather is endless because it will never end. Endless, E-N-D-L-E-S-S. It's an adjective. It means something has no limit or end. So Kingston, make sure you put a little star or something next to number 1 to let you know, hey, I have to do this tonight. Quickly. Number 2 is the word realistic. Realistic. R-E-A-L-I-S-T-I-C. We have another root word and suffix. What do you think the root word is in this sentence? Victoria? Real. Istic is a suffix. I-S-T-I-C is a suffix. If we cover it up, we have the word real. Istic makes the base word into an adjective. That means something is like that base word. So, if I-S-T-I-C is a suffix that makes the base word or the root word an adjective, meaning something is like it, that means realistic has to be an adjective, which is a describing word. And it means something seems as it actually is. So you look at something, if it's realistic, then when you look at it, it is what it is. It seems as if it is what it is. So do you see how we had already pretty much figured out the definition by figuring out the base word, which means something is real, it exists, it's right there, it's as it is. Adding istic makes it an adjective that means that something is real. In context, make sure you're listening to this and not just tuning me out. I'm trying to help you. In context, you might want to become a rock star, but finishing school is a more realistic goal. That means it's more likely to happen. Realistic, R-E-A-L-I-S-T-I-C. It's an adjective that means something seems as it actually is. Kingston, make sure you put a little note next to number 2 or a little star to let you know that you are doing number 2. Okay, number 3 is the word universe. Universe. U-N-I-V-E-R-S-E. Universe. In this case, we have no suffix or prefix. Prefix are letters at the beginning that change the meaning. It's just one word, and it is a noun. So a noun, remember, is a person, place, thing, or idea. And it is everything that exists, including earth. And notice how I capitalize the word earth. That means you should also be capitalizing the word earth because it is a proper noun, which we will learn about later. Earth, the other planets. Notice how I did not capitalize planets because I didn't name a specific one. Stars and space. So the universe is a noun, and it is everything that exists, including Earth, the other planets, stars, and space. So everything in existence is the universe. In context, the universe is so large that things in space are often very far apart. That's the word universe. U-N-I-V-E-R-S-E. It is a noun, which means it's a person, place, thing, or idea. And it is everything that exists, including Earth, the other planets, stars, and space. Kingston, make sure you put a little note, a little star next to number 3, letting you know you are also doing that word. Number 4 is the word astronaut. Astronaut is also not a word with a suffix or a prefix. It just is one word. We can kind of tell that because we don't really see any base words here. We don't see any smaller words inside this larger word. So astronaut is A-S-T-R-O-N-A-U-T, and it is another noun. Remember, a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. An astronaut is someone who is trained to fly and maintain spacecraft. So an astronaut is a noun. That means someone who is trained to fly and maintain spacecraft. Maintain means they're able to keep it working properly, and if it's not, they know how to fix it. Fly, of course, means they know how to operate it. Maintain means they know how to keep it working well, and they know how to repair it if it's not. In context, astronaut Mae Jemison was the first African-American female astronaut. Astronaut is A-S-T-R-O-N-A-U-T. It is a noun, and it is someone who is trained to fly and maintain spacecraft. So Kingston, make sure you make a little note next to number 4. That's your last one. If you are having trouble reading a word, usually my handwriting is good, but sometimes I write a little partial cursive, partial print. So if you are having trouble telling exactly what a word is and how to spell it, please make sure to ask me, especially if it is your turn to be doing the cards. Okay. Kingston, do you have a question or is your hand just up? I can't hear you. Actually, it's A-C-T-U-A-L-L-Y. Okay, but I'm about to erase it, so go quickly, please. Okay, I'm going to erase. Can I erase numbers 1 through 4? If not, I will just erase numbers 1 and 2. If you still need 3 or 4, Aaron, I don't know what you're doing, but it looks like your thumb's down. Is it supposed to be? Okay, so watch out, because this looks like down. Okay, I'll just erase numbers 1 and 2. Because I still don't see everybody's hands. Okay, now Zadie, we're starting yours. So next to number 5, put a little star to let you know this is my word. Number 5 is the word sensible. Sensible is spelled S-E-N-S-I-B-L-E. Zadie, you need to watch. Make sure that you have the letters all lowercase. Sensible is S-E-N-S-I-B-L-E. This word has a suffix. If I cover up I-B-L-E, that looks kind of like what word? Michaela? Sense. If you have sense, it means you understand what's going on. You know what to do. You can make sense of things if you have sense. I-B-L-E is a suffix that turns this word into a describing word, which means that someone or something has sense or something is done with sense. Sensible, remember I-B-L-E turns it into a describing word, so that means it is an adjective. It describes someone or something. I-B-L-E turns this into an adjective. That means that someone has sense. So the official definition is that someone or something has good judgment. So does everybody see how we already figured out the definition by looking at the root word, which was sense, and the suffix, which was I-B-L-E. In context, if you are biking, wearing a helmet is sensible. Ethan, pay attention. If you are biking, wearing a helmet is sensible. It means you had good judgment by wearing the helmet. Sensible is S-E-N-S-I-B-L-E. It is an adjective, and it means someone or something has good judgment. Okay, number 6. Zadie, this is your word too, so make sure you make a little note to yourself. I'm going to go ahead and erase number 3 so that I can be sure I have room. You are not done with number 3. Well, I don't know what to tell you. You got to start moving faster. Okay, number 6 is the word protest. Even though we see the word test in this word, sometimes it's a little misleading because protest does not have a suffix or a prefix. So you really have to make sure that you're looking at the right thing, because just because you see another word does not necessarily mean it has a prefix or a suffix, because it could be a compound word. Remember, compound words are 2 small words that are pushed together to make one word. Okay, the word protest, P-R-O-T-E-S-T, is a verb. Remember, a verb is an action or says what something is. And it means to complain about something. So if you protest, you complain about something. Now, does that always mean it's a bad thing to complain about? Cullen?
No.
No, because if you are protesting for people to treat you right, that is not a bad thing. But if you're protesting because it's Friday and you have math homework, is that a good thing to protest or to complain about? No. So it is okay to protest as long as the reason is a good reason. Ethan, pay attention. In context, when the girls got to leave early, the boys protested. Notice I added the ed sound at the end. That just means it took this verb. Ed is a suffix that means the verb happened in the past. Quickly. What? Oh, it's sensible to protest about certain things. It is not sensible to protest about other things. It is sensible to protest about being treated right, maybe like these boys, because the girls got to leave early. Well, why can't they leave early? It is not sensible to protest about something bad. Maybe the girls got to leave early because they finished all their work, but the boys were playing, and so they had to stay longer. So that would be not a good reason to protest, because they did something wrong and now they're being punished. Okay. Protest is P-R-O-T-E-S-T. It's a verb, and it means to complain about something. Okay, I'm going to erase number 4. Everybody should already have that because that was like 3 words ago. Oops. And number 7, this is the last word, and Zadie, this is also one of your words, so make sure to put a little star, is the word paralyzed. Paralyzed. Paralyzed is P-A-R-A-L-Y, not I. It's a Y. Z-E-D. Paralyzed. Wait, take off that D, because I'm sorry, that's past tense, and we're not putting the past tense. Paralyze with no D. P-A-R-A-L-Y-Z-E. So just erase that D, because paralyze is a verb, and it means to make helpless or powerless. It also means unable to move. So to make something helpless, to make something powerless, or to make something unable to move. That is what the word paralyze means. It can mean medically, as in you are literally not able to move. Something has happened in your body, something broke, something was damaged in your body to where something on your body cannot work. Maybe it's just from your waist down, maybe it's from your shoulders down, maybe it's only part of your body. That is medically paralyzed, which means you literally, something is damaged to where you cannot move. Or you cannot move that part of your body. Like if you fall out of a tree, you may break your back and you may not be able to move your legs anymore. That means you are medically paralyzed. However, we can also be mentally paralyzed by something that scares us, which means medically you're able to move, but you're so scared by something that you feel like you can't move or you can't think, by something that's so exciting or shocking that you feel like you can't move or can't think, but you're not actually paralyzed, you just feel paralyzed. If you are actually paralyzed, it means there was some kind of accident where your body is broken, you can't move something. But if you feel paralyzed, it means you feel like you were made helpless, powerless, or unable to move. So in context, Eric was so nervous about his speech, he felt paralyzed. So was he medically paralyzed or just felt like it? Michaela? He just felt like it. Being nervous cannot medically paralyze you. Just because you are nervous, you can still move. You just may not feel like you can move. Okay, paralyze is P-A-R-A-L-Y-Z-E. It is a verb and it means to make helpless, powerless, or unable to move. Okay. So you should be open to page 84. People at school, quickly put on your face shields. The foam is not super necessary. It still works perfectly well without it. So if you cannot get it to work with it because it's falling out, just take it out. It still works. Okay, so on that bookmark on the top of page 84, you can see all of our vocabulary words that we're going to be looking at. Now, some of them look a little different, like protested and paralyzed. That's because in this story, you will see them in past tense. If you see ed at the end of a verb, it's a suffix that means that verb already happened. It happened in the past. We are going to learn all about that later this year. But I give you the definition of just the regular old verb. I'm going to take that clock down if people cannot stop staring at it, and I'll just put it back there so that I can see it, because you guys really don't need to see it. Okay. On page 84, go ahead and read the title and the author. Ethan, pull your mask below your chin. Read loud and very slow.
Astronauts in Train.
Louder.
Astronauts in Train by Benjamin Telke.
Talicki, maybe. It's a last name, so we can never be exactly sure unless it's one of ours.
Anna Jones
Gomez.
spotted Larry Waters looking for a table in the cafeteria.
Louder, Ethan.
Hi, Larry, she called out. Larry smiled and brought his tray over. His hi, Anna. You're looking especially cheerful this morning, he remarked as he sat. Anna smiled proudly.
Good. Okay, pause. What we're going to be focusing on in this chapter is character traits, which means what is that character like? What is their personality like? And setting. So far, where is this story taking place? Ethan? Well, do we know that yet? Just by what we read? No, we can guess that based on looking at the pictures, but something we read tells us exactly where this is happening, the setting of the story. Victoria?
Cafeteria.
In a cafeteria somewhere. Now, just because we haven't read anything else about this setting, does that mean that's all it is? It's just in a cafeteria, Helen?
No.
No. As we read, we might find more information about the setting, about where this takes place. But so far, we know that this setting is in a cafeteria. We're also going to be talking about character traits. So what we know about characters. So we're going to change this because we're going to use this tomorrow for our other story. But Anna Gomez, is there anything we can tell about her personality so far? Colin?
No.
Are you sure? Aaron?
Yes.
Yes, what can we tell about her personality so far?
She's kind.
Do we know if she's kind? Has she done anything really nice to or for Larry?
Not really.
Not really. That doesn't mean she's not. Zari?
That she asked him if he want to come sit with me. She likes to be having friends.
Okay. Well, think about what her actions so far. What she looks like. What is she doing when Larry sees her? Carla?
Is asking him.
Nope. Asking questions is not a personality trait. It just means you're curious about something. It's not a personality trait. What is she doing when Larry sees her? Colin?
She's smiling.
She's smiling. So, she's definitely happy about something. Because if you're smiling, you're happy about something. Even if it means you're just happy that it's a new day. Do we know exactly what she's happy about yet? Class?
No.
No, but we'll probably find out. Okay, thank you. Ethan, read next. Zari. Make sure you're following along because if I call your name and you don't know where we are, that is a consequence.
You got your lunch date, didn't you?
Go slower. Good job, Zari, but go slower.
You got your lunch date, didn't you? Larry exclaimed. Yes, I did, Anna replied. Finally, the wait seems endless. Have I been curious about that plant?
Not have I, but
I have been curious about that planet since I was 10, and now I will be in the first mission to Venus. You're leaving.
not your. What does that say?
We are leaving 10 months from now on April 17th, 2016.
It's a little. This is an old textbook. Okay, so now do we know what she's happy about? Carla?
Not yet.
Victoria?
Yes.
Yes. Mask below your chin because you have your face shield on. What is she happy about, Victoria?
About going to Venus because she's curious.
Well, you're going too far. What is she happy about? Just tell me what's the thing she's happy about. She's happy about getting her launch date to go to Venus. Carla, do you see how we know that? Because in what Zari just read, Larry says, hey, you got your launch date. He can tell because her smile. Then Anna says, yes, I did. So we can tell she's happy about getting her launch date and going to Venus. Yes, Smith, quickly.
The sheet that's on the board, do we need that?
No, you don't have it. Remember the first day, I do it. Second day, we do it. Second and third day. Okay, very good. Now we know something else about her personality. So we know she's happy about going to Venus. This tells us that she is enthusiastic. Enthusiastic, if a person is enthusiastic, they are excited about things. Now we also know that she's something else. What else did what Zari just said tell us about her? Why is she so excited and enthusiastic to go on this trip? We've all heard this or read it. Well, we've all read it, so everybody should be able to come up with an answer. Cullen, what else do we know about her?
She's been curious since she was 10,
What has she been curious about?
going to Venus.
So, she's wondered
About Venus.
Sorry. Sorry, make sure you're muted. She's wondered about Venus her whole life, basically. So this tells us that she is curious. If you're curious, it means you like to learn about things. You want more information. You always want to know more than what you already know. Ethan, sit up and pay attention. Scoot your chair. Okay, very good. Do we know anything about her just yet? Not yet. So let's keep reading. Thank you, Zari. Read next, Zadie. Pull your mask below your chin because you have your shield on, and read loud and slow. Just read that first paragraph or that first block of text on page 85.
That's realistic.
Louder.
That's realistic. You'll have plenty of time to train your crew, and you'll have time to review
Oh, go slow. You're reading words. You're reading the wrong words. So start with you'll have plenty of time.
You'll have plenty of time to train your crew, and they'll have time to review the virtual trip before the actual flight. Congratulations, Anna. It sounds like you would have picked this mission if you had your choice of any planet in the whole universe.
Very good. Okay, because this is short, we're just going to do one paragraph or one section at a time. Okay, thank you. Michaela, read the next block of text. So remember, stop when you get to that indentation where there's space between where the words start on the left and the first word.
Well,
Louder. Reply. Go slow and louder, Michaela. We cannot hear you.
If I could go anywhere in the solar system, I'd pick Pluto, but that wouldn't be a wise choice for a middle-aged astronaut. But at the time,
Not at. What does that say?
Not
But.
by the time we're able to go there, I'll be out the space program.
Not out the space program, but I'll be.
Of the space program.
I'll be. So start with I'll be.
I'll be out the space program.
Nope, you're skipping words.
I'll be out of the space program. I'll be sensible and
Not stuck.
stick to me. What would you?
Louder. That's not what would.
What about you, Larry? You applied for the next trip to Mars. It's time we went as the
Michaela? What's an A? M-A-N. That's an A, Michaela. Not an O. short A says ah, ah, ah. M-A-N, that's a word you know. Man. Der. Come. Man. Der. Come. Man. Der. What is that word? Commander. So make sure you're chunking, guys. That will help you. That's why you're reading slow, so that you have a chance to kind of chunk it as you go. So now we know something else about Anna. What else do we know from this paragraph that Michaela just read about Anna? Zari?
She would, if she could go to anywhere in the solar system, she would go to he would go to Pluto.
She. Is that all we know from that paragraph?
No.
What else do we know? So if she could go anywhere, she'd go to Pluto. But what?
But that wouldn't be a wise choice.
Why?
For a middle-aged
Please
astronaut.
don't read directly from the text. Say it in your own words. Why does she know she can't go to Pluto?
Because she's not old enough.
She's not old enough? Can somebody help Zari out? She's on the right track, but it's not because she's not old enough. Aaron?
It's because that wouldn't be a wise choice for a middle-aged woman.
Okay, what does that mean? You just read me the text, but what does that mean?
Old.
She wants to go to Pluto. But she's being sensible because why? She wants to go to Pluto, but what's the problem? Why does she know it's not realistic? Aaron?
She's too old.
Because she's too old. She's being realistic. She wants to go to Pluto, but she knows she's too old. Because it's not time to go to Pluto yet. They're not about to go, and she knows that she is really too old. By the time they figure out how to get to Pluto, she will be retired. She will be out of the space program. On your desk, please. So that shows that she is sensible. She's being realistic. She knows she wants to do it, but it's not good judgment to put all of her focus on going to Pluto because by the time they're able to go, she's going to be too old to go anywhere. So she's being sensible by not putting all of her effort into going to Pluto and then never being able to do it. That's being sensible. She's using good judgment. Okay, thank you, Michaela. Go ahead and read next. Kingston. Loud and slow. All the way down. Some of you guys, when you pull it down, you have your face shield on. You pull it to here. Well, we still can't hear you because it's still covering part of your mouth because as you talk, your bottom lip goes down, but your mask stays there. So this does not help. It needs to go all the way down to here. You have your face shield on, so that is okay. Okay, Kingston, loud and slow.
Larry protested.
Little louder.
Larry protested. I wish that
Zari, please mute yourself.
were true. But
Sergio, Casa, Nelly.
Sergio
Even when it comes to names, you have to be able to try. Michaela, put your book down.
Casanova has been ahead of me since we left this academy. The remote control for new land attachment is on the way.
Keep going.
The computer
Sergio.
Sergio has been playing since he was a child. He's ready to
Louder. Kingston.
He's really looking forward to walk on Mars. If I'm not mistaken, trip to Mars is planned for April.
And you can go ahead and read that last little bit too, because it's very short. But read loud, almost like you're yelling. No, you know what? Scream it. Scream it. Go ahead.
It would be greater
Oh,
if we
not
were,
it. Try again.
Wouldn't it be greater if we were heading for Earth's nearest neighbors at the same time?
Very good. Okay, so it doesn't say, but that very last part that Kingston just read, wouldn't it be great if we were headed for Earth's nearest neighbors at the same time? Anna said that. So what she just said is the last character trait that we find. What does that last sentence that she says to Larry tell about her? So Larry has just said he's kind of upset. He's complaining a little bit because he's not going to get to go to space anytime soon because Sergio Casanelli is ahead of him for the chance to go to space. So he's complaining about that. He's complaining that he doesn't get to go yet, which it's okay to complain a little, as long as he doesn't spend all his time complaining about that. And then Anna says, wouldn't it be great if we were headed for Earth's nearest neighbors at the same time? Because remember, on one side of us is Venus, where Anna's going. On the other side is Mars, where Larry wants to go. So what does that last sentence say about Anna? What does that last sentence say about Anna? She's telling Larry, it would be great if we could both go at the same time. Victoria? Good. She's trying to make Larry feel better about not getting to go yet. That means, does she think that his dream of going to Mars is unrealistic? Cullen?
No.
No. So, she supports Larry's dream of going to Mars, which means that she is supportive. Very good. So does everybody see how as we read, first of all, we find out the setting. Did we find out anything else about the setting in this? We said it took place in a cafeteria. Did we find out where that cafeteria was? Zari?
No.
No, we didn't. So we know in this case the setting is just a cafeteria. Sometimes we will have a very detailed setting, like a cafeteria in a space station 300,000 miles away from Earth, or sometimes we'll just have a cafeteria. Now it does kind of look like this picture that they are maybe in a like a space station or something, but based on the story, do you think they're in a space station? Where do you think they are, just based on the story? Colin?
In the cafeteria.
Where? In space. Aaron? Do you think they're in space based on this story? Do you think they are currently in a cafeteria in space based on this story? Why?
Because
Don't tell me about the picture. Is there anything that leads you to believe that they are in a cafeteria in space based on the words? No. So we can probably assume, where would astronauts train? Would astronauts train to go to space in space? Class?
No.
No. They have to train to go to
No.
space before they can actually go there. So, because we know that they are in training based on the title and on their words, they are probably in a cafeteria on Earth. Carla, please don't worry about their virtual backgrounds. Okay. Okay, so does everybody understand? When we read this, we learned a lot about Anna. Did it ever say she was enthusiastic, which I spelled wrong? Did it, class?
No.
Did it say the words, Anna is enthusiastic?
No.
No. But we can tell because she's happy about going to Venus. She's excited. Did it ever say the words that she is sensible? Did it say Anna Gomez is sensible, word for word?
No.
No. But based on her choices and the fact that she says, I'm going to be sensible, we know she is sensible. Did it ever say Anna Gomez is curious? Class?
No.
No, but based on thinking and being curious about Venus her whole life, it tells us that she is curious. Does it ever say Anna Gomez is supportive?
No.
No. But based on the fact that she's trying to make Larry feel better about going to Mars, it's showing that she thinks it is possible and she is supporting him, which means she is supportive. So as we are finding character traits in stories, it's not necessarily going to tell us the words, Anna Gomez is enthusiastic, Anna Gomez is sensible, Anna Gomez is supportive, Anna Gomez is curious. We have to look at their actions and the things that they say to find out their character traits. So as you're reading and you're trying to find character traits in your story tonight, your passage for your homework, are you going to be looking for specific words that tell this is the answer to the question? Zadie?
No.
No. You have to look at what the character does, what they say, and what the story says. Zari, please mute yourself, otherwise I'm just going to have to keep you muted on my side. Otherwise, you're going to have to look at what the character does, what the character says, and what the story says about the character to find the character traits. So does everybody understand? Setting is usually said somewhere in the story. They say where it is. Like this one said, at a table, looking for a table in the cafeteria. So we know this is in the cafeteria. Setting usually is right there in the story. It may not be at the very beginning, but it's going to be somewhere where it takes place. Character traits, however, you have to look a little deeper. So that's what this year is all about. Looking a little deeper. Finding the answers when they're not right there in front of you. Okay, so we are done with reading for today. Any questions about reading? Okay, go ahead and close your reading books and put them away. I'm going to pass out reading homework, and we're going to look at it really quick. We can tell that this is the front because if we look at the page number at the bottom, it says 22. Then if we look at the back, the page number says 23. The lower number is always the front. So on the front, it's vocabulary. It says replace the underlined words with one of the words from the vocabulary list. So for numbers 1 through 7, we have synonyms of our vocabulary words. Synonyms are words that mean the same thing. On the line, you just have to write which vocabulary word is the same as what's underlined. So for number 1, we have space traveler underlined. So that means you're figuring out the vocabulary word that means the same thing. Then for numbers 8 through 10, you are writing your own vocabulary sentences. It says use 3. That means you're using 3 different words in each sentence. So number 8, you're going to use one word in a sentence of your own. Number 9, you're going to use a different word in a sentence of your own. Ethan, make sure you're paying attention. Number 10, you're going to use a third word for a sentence of your own. Make sure that you are not using a sentence like, she is sensible. Does that tell me that you know what the word sensible means? Zadie?
No.
No. Sensible could mean dumb. You have to include, she is sensible because blah, blah, blah. So when you are writing sentences of your own, you need to make sure that you include enough detail to show me that you know what the word means. If you turn in a sentence to me that says she is sensible, he is realistic, the girl was paralyzed, you are going to lose points because those words could mean anything. You need to show me that you know what it means. Now look at the back really quick. It says read the passage, then answer the questions below. We're working on characters and settings, so make sure you read those sentences at the top. Understanding the characters and the setting can help you understand what happens in a story. You know characters means you're looking for character traits. Setting means you're looking for where it takes place. So, make sure, everybody listen. Write and complete sentences. Use your pencil to add the direction. Write in complete sentences. That means if you don't, you're going to lose points. So you need subject, predicate, capital at the beginning, and punctuation at the end. Once you are done writing in this extra direction, you may put your reading homework in your take-home folder, then stand up and push your chair in.